Welcome everybody to episode 117 of the podcast. I got DJ Cammy V with me. DJ Cammy V.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for coming on.
Dude, of course.
I appreciate your time. I want to make that clear. I know that time for guys that do your type of work, shit flies all over the place.
Always, but you know what? You got to make time for the local guys, you know?
Yeah, that's what it is, dude. This is a local, we're from the roots.
That's right.
This is a Medford podcast in the Medford area.
We drink the same tap water. We know the vibes.
Yeah, that's why we're built the same, guys like you and me.
That's right.
Because of the water. And I'm really excited to have people that are like doing things for themselves, like brand-wise, on the podcast. Because I love to talk about what got you started. And then I like to talk about, like, I guess that journey, coming over some obstacles, stuff like that. I know what you do. I know you're a DJ. I know you do some booking. I know that your hands are pretty deep in it at this point and around these parts when it comes to the music scene. And I know you have a podcast, I Know the DJ podcast.
Yes, sir.
Great. It was a great listen. I just gave it a couple tries on the ride home and on the ride to work. Very enjoyable.
My man, appreciate it.
Very, like, natural. Good music-based podcast, DJ-based podcast. If you like that stuff, go listen to that instead. This is pretty. This ain't the same thing. But yeah, I just wanted to get an understanding of, like, why did you want to become a DJ, and then I guess the road to here today.
Man, so I've been in the game for about 10 years now. I loved music growing up, DJing was always something that I wanted to get into, but I didn't necessarily know how until I got into college. So my freshman year of college, I finally got my first laptop, the feelings,
Yep.
meant for schoolwork, right? And I downloaded a free DJ software, and I was just mixing it in my room one day, and my roommate walks in and he was like, "Dude, is this you?" I was like, yeah. He goes, "Yeah, you're pretty good." And I was like, okay. So started ground bottom, DJing off my friend's speakers, in the dorm room, doing dorm room parties. Worked my way up. 1 year for Christmas, asked for a set of speakers and a DJ controller. So I was doing house parties off campus. Shout out Springfield College. And then after my sophomore year, my junior year, I got a really good opportunity to, get a shot at a bar, and funny story there, but I ended up getting some kid couldn't make his first booking, so he booked me instead.
Wow.
He was like, "Oh yeah, just take the gig. Yeah, all right, no problem, brother. Just make sure they know that, because this was his first time too. I was like, just make sure they know that I'm not you and that I'm helping you out. Yeah,
right,
yeah, okay."
Right.
So, of course, I walk in. He was like, "Hey, Pat," whatever the kid's name was. And I was like, "Nope, I'm Cam." And the guy's like, What the fuck? Oh, can I swear? My bad.
Yeah. Oh,
he's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" I'm like, "Oh, awesome. Glad he let him know the heads up there." So at this point, mind you, it's probably 10, 15 minutes before, people come in. So the guy had a choice. He's either cancel the DJ altogether or give me a shot. And he was just like, "All right, man. Well, hopefully you're good." So ended up crushing it, got my first residency. Nice. 1 turned into 2, turned into 3 when I was out in Springfield. Graduated, came home to Boston, got an amazing opportunity to work with a DJ that was in the college team pretty heavily. Did a lot of gigs opening, worked really hard, started mastering my craft and my sound. I think it's really important to have your own sound because, being a DJ in Boston is like a dime a dozen. There's a lot of DJs.
Sure.
So you got to do different things to stick out. And, I think overall, my creativity and my talent and my skills, my hands-on skills is kind of what separates me from other DJs. And eventually, I got into the club circuit. Again, did gigs opening for DJs that had been in the clubs for a few years, a lot of whom are my very good friends today. And once I finally got my first club headline opportunity, that's where I really saw things, take off.
Wow, dude. That's a real grinded out story.
You have no idea, bro. Yeah, you have no idea. That's crazy.
A lot of no's, I assume, along the way.
Yep.
A lot of times when you were like, "Damn, is this gonna work out? Am I even doing this right now?"
Yeah, dude, it's hard. It's you got to take advantage of the opportunities that you have, and you got to be used to just taking a lot of shit. You get there's gonna be gigs where sometimes you don't even get paid. early on.
Yeah.
There's going to be gigs where there's fucking 5 people in there. But it's like, dude, you got to like bite the bullet sometimes and really you never know who's in the room. And that's what I tell a lot of the younger guys. Like, dude, take every gig serious. Like, it's very difficult. Again, now with like the new wave of like DJs, it's like, dude, you DJ on TikTok, you have like a lot of followers, you can get booked anywhere today.
Yeah.
But like, if you're like salt of the earth guy, I want to be sticking around for a while and like actually like stay in the venues that you get into, you got to take these bad gigs and like take it serious and really, really practice, hone your sound, hone your craft.
Yeah, and I think DJing specifically, but I think about that with a lot of different professions. Like me, I'm very in tune or at least into the stand-up world. I haven't ventured in yet. I will be.
Dude, I love it. There's a lot of good stand-up places around here too.
Great. There's great places around here. Yeah. And good communities and good like comedians, really. And a lot of good comedy comes from this area, and I think more will be soon, just because of the nature of like the bluntness of this side of the country. Will be a good breath of fresh air in the coming years. It's just my prediction.
Love it.
But it sounds very similar to a lot of the stories I hear, like listening to all the podcasts. It's like, oh, you gotta go bomb at some club with 2 people there. You gotta go to the Chinese restaurant and like just stand on a stage with 8 people there, not paying attention, and just take it serious.
Yeah.
Practice, hone it in.
It's very funny. I'm glad you made that comparison because I say it all the time too. My co-host Snacks on the But I Know the DJ podcast says it all the time too. The closest thing to DJing is probably being a comedian.
Yeah.
Because a lot of it is like crowd reactions. You're testing out a lot of material. And the way that our brains work, if you're like a true DJ, it's like you have a punchline, right? That could be like a song. That's a song that's going to get a reaction. It's like, how do I get from point A to the punchline to make the punchline really hit? So it's like about you're programming the crowd until, boom, you give them that moment. So there's really a lot of like psychology aspects that are like very similar to being a comedian.
For sure. That's the same. Even just you doing this like little hand motion, that's what they'll say is like me not being a comedian. I've listened to enough. They will say like you're set up, punch, and the punch needs to be like a break of expectation.
Yep.
And that's what DJs do. It's like you're breaking like the expectation. That's where the excitement, and then it needs to be good, and that's the excitement.
That's right.
A good break of expectation is what excitement is. And that's what comedians are going for in the form of like a laugh, because that's just the human reaction to it. It's just like sound that we make. And then you guys are looking for the same thing. Like sometimes I bet there's people in the crowd just laughing, just like just because they're just enjoying what you're doing. Like it's just
Bro,
like,
of course.
My god, that song.
Yeah, no way.
Yeah, like
can't believe you play this. Yeah,
cool.
we're always looking for either like the hands up, the jumping up and down, or like the like
yes.
that never gets old.
Yeah, and I was gonna I guess one thing I want to ask. Because it's fair to say you made the right choice doing the music thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I know it's very difficult. Music specifically is very difficult to know if it's something that you should pursue. Because everyone loves music.
Mm-hmm.
Like, or not everyone. Let's just
majority of people love music.
Being general, everyone loves it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people not only love it, like deeply connect with music or like a piece of art in the music setting. And like me, like I like to say I love music, and like that doesn't necessarily mean you should make it. So I guess you say you love music and you're like, let me just try it out. Was it the fact that you were good at it and kind of initially that first like, hey, I like this, was that what kind of kept you rolling in it? Or did you really think that like, no, creating this is fun, this is made for me?
That's a good question. I think naturally I was drawn to it because a lot of people would come to me like early on for like playlists, like, hey, any new music that's out. Like I'm pretty tapped in. I got my ear to the streets, like I'm pretty dialed in with like music that people, what's going to move the needle for people, right? So I think like early on, that's probably what prompted me to be like, hey, I could make something out of this. But I will say too, so it wasn't until 2 or 3 years ago where I started DJing full time. I was also doing, I went to Springfield College for physical therapy.
Right.
So I was doing PT like full time. I was coaching soccer.
Jesus Christ.
And I was DJing essentially like 3-4 nights a week. And it got to a point where, you know, I changed PT jobs, and I won't get into detail, but I was like doing at-home physical therapy, like driving to people's houses, and I got put in a couple crazy situations, and I was like, hey, is this part of the job? Or, you know, and they're like, they're like, yep, part of the job. I was like, yeah, I'm putting in my 2 weeks. So, right, like literally driving home, called my manager. I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here. I don't need to do this. So, you know, it's, again, like doing a career in music is it's definitely a risk, you know, but if it's a calculated risk, and you just gotta be like super committed to it. You know, it's always scary working for yourself, but if you have like that never die attitude, and you know you're committed to putting in the hours of work and doing everything you possibly can to get work and literally put food on your table, you know, regardless whether or not like you're a musically inclined person, you can always learn. Like, and if you're committed to it, you can actually make like a good living out of it.
It's pretty impressive. And the you know, the eat what you kill mentality. If that's how you feel, then you will eat. Like if you believe in that eat what you kill thing. That's also, it's kind of similar to like the sales world. That's where I'm kind of pointing myself in right now, and a lot of it's very, you know, commission. That's how that shit works. So, but in a different way, because like you're betting, like you're kind of like, I guess you're betting on yourself, but you're like selling like a thing. It's like, hey, I didn't make this, but here you go.
Right.
Whereas you, it's like, this is
me.
There's a lot more, like the no means a lot more for someone like you that's creating it, as opposed to someone like me that's just like, oh, well, I can disassociate myself from the product.
Right.
Like you can't disassociate yourself from the art, you know? So that can be a little tough, I can imagine. But I guess it sounds like you were quite the aux before you were a DJ.
Yeah.
I'm an aux chord guy. I like to think I got a fabulous aux.
Let's go.
And someone will say like, yo, like, how do you know what to play? And I can never really describe that, most because I don't know. I just play what I like, and I think I have a mainstream taste. But what does it take to be a good aux?
Dude, being a good aux DJ, you gotta know. And again, like it's not stereotyping anybody, but you gotta have a good like hand on the pulse of like what's in the room. And again, like honestly, this is funny because this is probably the episode you watched. Last episode on our podcast, you know, we talked about having like feeler songs. Like, you have to have like songs on hand. Okay, if I get a reaction from song A, B, and C, they'll like song D.
Okay.
So there's like connections throughout all music essentially, and there's in between songs, there's cross genre songs. So it's like knowing your music inside and out, and knowing like, okay, if someone likes this song, most likely they're going to like this song. Then I feel like that's a big part of reading the room and being a good aux DJ.
Yeah, that's an indescribable thing for me. Like I didn't really understand, but that's definitely what I do. Like I think about this past weekend, I was our aux for like a little weekend getaway. We went to New Hampshire, and you know, we're there, and we kind of get into a bit of like a country sing-along vibe. That's where we are. That's how we. I don't know how we got here.
Dude, if I'm in New Hampshire, I got a Bud Light in my hand. You better believe I'm gonna be singing some light jams for sure.
Cornhole, you know, and it's getting late. And
denim shorts, sure.
Exactly, and whatever it takes. And then like I play. What's that Carrie Underwood song? It's like that.
When He Cheats.
Yes. That's a classic.
Absolutely.
And I play that, and then I kind of ran out. I don't have a deep bag in that area. Maybe like a couple Alicia Keys songs, something like that. Like I was running out of bag though, in like the sing along woman area.
Lady jams.
Don't got the lady jams on deck like that. So then I was like, I thought to myself, like, how can I transition this? Like, what song is like between this and something I got a deep bag in? And I forget what I ended up choosing, so it kind of ruins the whole story. But I ended up like basically making my way to Drake.
Dude.
I wonder how many DJs have said that. How can I get to Drake?
You probably everyone, but dude, I mean there you go. That's the cross genre artist king. Think about how many genres Drake has touched in his career.
Oh my god, dude! Like even a big one for me. I love playing "Feel No Ways" because like that can take you from slow to fast,
easy,
like, in one song.
Yeah,
like,
that's a fucking great song
slow
too.
To a fast one, or the other way around. If you want to kill it, if you want to die it down, you play it that way.
Like R&B Drake. Yeah,
R&B. Oh, R&B Drake, bro.
Yeah, don't drink and drive, kids.
Seriously, I'd crash.
End up at your ex's house.
Playing, like,
you know.
If I'm playing Legend, I'll just crash.
Oh my god.
I'll just crash.
Yeah, stop it.
Are you a Drake guy? I know.
Big Drake guy.
Yeah, he's very mainstream. So a lot of like people that are very in tune with the music, like yourself, not you yourself and what it sounds like, but people that are in tune with music don't seem to want to like Drake because he's mainstream. Are you just because you're a DJ and not, I guess, an artist in that sense? You have to kind of throw all that out the window.
Dude, I'll say this: the people that don't like Drake probably weren't on him until like his second or third album. Like I was like comeback season, dude. Like I remember exactly where I was when Best Ever Had dropped. So I was very much outside when like Drake actually became relevant.
So
I've been like day one like I'm like, yo, this guy is fire.
You as we said, you know my cousin.
Of course.
So I'm not the youngest, but like we like to say of all the cousins, we have like the older cousins and the younger ones. I'm the oldest of the younger ones. So for a little bit, it was just me and the older cousins. You know. Like,
yep.
Didn't end up becoming a split until we had a couple more of us. But like there's a little gap there, and so I listened to whatever they were listening to. When I was 5 years old, my Christmas gift in 2005 was a CD that Alex had burned for me, and one of the songs on it was "Smack That" by Akon and Eminem.
Still a banger.
Banger. 5 years old. So I was only maybe 5. I was outside for when that
there you go.
When
exactly.
Drake was coming around.
Yep.
I was awake. I was listening to songs.
Yep.
I knew what was hip.
Yep.
Like my sister's a huge music person. She loved Young Money. So like we were
Awesome.
all in on that. Lil Wayne's my fucking god.
Yeah. Arguably one of the goats of hip hop.
Yeah.
My opinion, at least Mount Rushmore for sure.
To me, I think Lil Wayne is the quintessential rapper. I don't think that anyone has, maybe like a Tupac, but like I don't think anyone embodies rap holistically like Lil Wayne. From the bars to like the naturalness of it, the youth that he came up with it with, the background that he has, and the aesthetic, and the sound even. It's like, and the hits, the success, and the underground shit, and the mixtapes.
Thank you. I was just about to say, like, dude, the mixtape era, that alone should be fucking studied. Like, dude, again, like...
Dude was killing.
Insane. Some of his best bars on, like, songs that you can't find on streaming services.
Yeah,
it's like...
crazy.
I gotta go on fucking YouTube while I'm driving and be like...
They're slowly dropping a little bit.
Let me look the drought for while I'm driving.
I love this, like, when he covers, like... Dude, the fact he covered Rolling in the Deep.
Yeah, Adele, yep. So, what was it on? Sorry for the Wait? Was that what it was?
Sorry for the Wait.
Yep.
Sorry for the Wait. That was before, like, the Carter 4.
Yep.
Just like, dude, legend. In my like,
legend.
Even if he's not like my favorite or who I think is actually the best, I think that like I'll just give him the GOAT. Like, just take the greatest, bro.
Yeah. Obviously, like a lot of other people would probably Drake's definitely in GOAT conversation. Jay-Z's up there for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, rightfully so.
Someone I discovered late in my like past like year and a half, 2 years. Just went and listened to the Blueprint series. I went and listened to just some of the old bops, and I was like, this is like fucking incredible.
Yeah, Hope is crazy.
I didn't realize
he's
how
that dude.
Crazy it was.
Yeah, he's that dude.
And I went and listened because of the Kanye production.
Yeah.
I was just like, Kanye's my like the reason I like music, which is it's tough.
It's tough day to be a Kanye fan, but
it's always
genius nonetheless.
It's always a tough day to be a Kanye fan.
You never know.
It's so sad, bro. It's so sad.
Speaking of which, you see his new what he's launching this week?
No, what is he launching this week?
Yay porn.
No,
Yep.
dude.
Yep. Should be great, man. Should be great.
I'll tell you, I'm done defending him. I'm just gonna listen in silence. I think when people start
all the extracurricular stuff.
People start dissing. I'm just gonna be like, all right, like I get it. I'm still gonna listen, but I get it.
Yeah.
Like that's just me at this point. I can't even. I literally can't.
Yeah, it's always something on him, man.
Yeah, it's he's one of a kind.
For sure.
One of a kind.
For
and
sure.
like a lot of those guys are fucking weird. Like those like real like anomalies in the music industry. Like Michael Jackson was fucking weird, bro. Prince even was fucking weird.
The artist formerly known as Prince because he changed his name to his logo.
Symbol.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, exactly.
And you know, even like the Beatles were weird. Like they were like a weird collection of guys.
Bro, but think about it too, right? Like music today, the accessibility of music and like what it takes to be a superstar today is significantly less in the day of like social media, music accessibility, as opposed to like with Michael Jackson. Bro, think about how fucking famous you have to be Michael Jackson when people literally had to go drive to a record store after work, pay for a vinyl, and then go home and then play it.
Yeah, fuck out of here. I ain't doing that. I wouldn't be a music fan.
And he still holds like insane records across all music. Think about how famous you have to be like with before social media. Oh. Like, it's insane. Beatles, another great example. Like, that's superstardom.
Like, Now and Then came out recently. Like, the song that they kind of, like, podged together.
Yep.
Didn't that like, top 10 charted?
Yeah, it did chart. Like,
yeah. Bro, that's a band from the 60s, the 50s. Talk about impact.
Did they... Exactly. I'm trying to think. I could be wrong. I thought I read they had to use some form of, like, AI software to finish it or something.
I think to refine... like the sound more so like almost like I'm in a mastering mixing way, more so than like they didn't like fill in any
AI
words.
Generate
But like then again, who knows did you hear the Taylor Made freestyle?
Dude, crazy.
Dude, that was like a cut. That was nuts.
Yeah, that was nasty.
What are your thoughts on that? Because Tupac, you know, rest in peace, Tupac.
Yeah, so for those listening that don't know, so Drake posted a freestyle. Was it the day of Taylor Swift's album drop?
Yes.
Called Taylor Made Freestyle, and he AI generated Tupac and Snoop Dogg to put vocals. So he wrote their verses, and AI generated like the Tupac and Snoop Dogg voices, and then had his own verse at the end. But this is like the gray area of music today, right? Because it is an AI software, but again, like, where's the line? Like Tupac's estate's ready to sue him, like a cease and desist, right? But he did post it on his Instagram, so he's not making money off it.
Nope.
And who's to say it is Tupac?
Yeah, you technically can't.
Right?
I mean,
that's what I said. I texted our group chat, like our podcast group chat. I'm like, this is gonna be interesting seeing how this one plays out, because it could dictate how the future of music, like what's going to happen in the future of music. Yeah,
and I think, you know, smart chess move by Drake too, just in addition to that. Like, I mean, I think if you get it into a court, I'm assuming the jurors will be able to be like, that's Tupac. And so, you know, there's no, even like law can't dispute that
no doubt.
You're trying to be Tupac.
No
obviously.
doubt.
Even just by the bars.
Yep.
But for me, the chess move of being like, I'm going to take your two biggest influences, probably. I don't know how much Kendrick and Snoop, I assume a ton.
West Coast,
you know, like it makes sense in how much he was tied
his
to
nephew.
Tupac. His nephew. But, you know, take his biggest influence in Tupac, obviously. It's like basically his fucking father, Tupac. And to not diss him, encourage him to respond.
Yep.
That is I'm not too big on him using a dead man's voice. I'm just like, it bothered me more than I thought it would. I don't care about anything, and that still kind of bothered me.
Yeah.
Not enough for me to actually care, but I was just like, I'm still just like, damn.
Crazy chess move.
Fucking crazy chess move.
Yeah.
Crazy chess move. Good, and push-ups was good too.
Yeah, so there's a couple things have come out since Drake put out the push-ups diss record. There's like a bar in there about like with the bodyguards like Whitney. Yeah. Whitney obviously referring to Kendrick's wife, and obviously also referring to the Whitney Houston movie with the bodyguard.
Mm-hmm.
But they're saying that, you know, and at the end of the song, Drake said something to the extent of like, and that's not even all I know, blah, blah, blah. And so there's speculation that, you know, Kendrick hasn't responded yet, because there's probably more significance of that bar than the general population knows. And Drake's kind of out here being like, hey, like, come on, where was all that? The energy's not the same. Like, why aren't you replying now? Like, do you think I know something?
Yeah,
so
I wonder, like, why hasn't he responded?
So some people point at that.
Is that it?
Drake's also pointing at the fact that, like, oh, you're going to push back a response because Taylor Swift dropped the album. That's why the Taylor-made freestyle. Could be one or the other. And that's why Drake's like, dude, you had a song in the vault for me for 4 years and you're not going to release it now? Like, yeah, waiting on you.
I got a feeling this morning that it was over. Like, I just woke up this morning, I listened to Push-Ups on the way to work, and I was just like, I don't think he's gonna respond. Like, I think today was the benchmark. Like, I checked one more time on Google, just Kendrick Lamar, just searching on YouTube and Google, and still just the AI disses that are fake. And I was like,
of course.
I was like, I think it's over. I think that he's not gonna respond, and I don't even know if Kendrick has a fucking phone. So, like, dude just probably lives in the woods doing nothing, like being weird, like, for all we know. Like,
yeah, who knows?
What a weird little chapter then if he doesn't respond. It feels, does it take a little bit of the blow away from Drake's if he's just like, I don't give a fuck, like, or does it make it
let's put it this way, like, if you're the one to call him out after all these years subliminals back and forth, and finally it's like you basically drop his name and like that, you're the one to start it, and now Drake comes in, drops not one but 2 songs, and it's like, where's this energy?
Yeah, it's weird.
That's a huge Drake win. Yeah, that's a huge win.
I would think so. But for some reason, in my mind, maybe because I'm a Kendrick bias, like I just fuck with Kendrick. Like,
yeah, I do too. I love his music, love what he's done for music. But like, you know, I'm the first one to say, like, Pusha T with the best chess move of all time over Drake, revealing to the world that he had a kid that he was hiding, right? But dude, again, like, I mean, if you're not responding, like, dude, he's got you pinned. I
don't know how much I like the idea that, like, who's got the better dirt is the winner of the... Because...
I agree.
You know, literally bullied him into fatherhood. Like, that was, like... That's an exception. To me, that's the exception to the rule. But, like... like, that's crazy. Gave a kid a father.
Yeah, the whole chess move of that, too, was, like... I don't know how familiar you are, because this is what really, really set off the beef between Drake and Kanye.
Yeah.
Because the Lift Yourself, like, he went,
that was crazy.
Recorded with Kanye, and when he was with Kanye recording, showed him pictures like, hey, I have a kid, and on his album, the last song on the album was like, I think it's May 18th or something. It was a day that he found out that he was going to have a kid.
Yeah.
It was like the whole story of that. And he was going to announce it to the world, but he was going to wait till the album. And so obviously Kanye definitely, even though he denies it, fed Pusha T that information. And that's why, like, the whole chess move, like, before Drake's album came out, beat him to the punch and made him look like a deadbeat dad. Yeah. Like, crazy chess move. So I don't even know, man. That's an all-time... Again, I'll be the first one to be like, hey, like, chess move wise, like, Drake took an L on that one. That sucks.
Yeah.
But dude, let's put it this way: if all this speculation is true, huge win for him on this one.
Yeah, because and in my opinion, like, you smoke Kendrick, you smoke Meek.
Right.
I think we can kind of sweep the Pusha thing under the rug. If you smoke Kendrick,
yeah, agreed.
Who cares about Pusha?
Yep.
Like,
all right. You know what? Yeah, exactly. That to your point, it's like, okay, if it's about a dirt contest or it's about bars, I think it's a little bit of both.
Yeah.
But again, he was just gliding on push-ups.
It's tough with the dirt thing though, because it's just like, it feels like we don't know who the better rapper is after. Mm. Like, isn't that what the beef's supposed to be about? Like, who's the better rapper? Like, really? Like,
should be.
It should be. But then, like, I try to think of, like, old beefs. I don't know enough. I know, like, the songs. I don't know, like, I guess the responses and, like, the misses. I don't know like, from, like an Ether or No Vaseline.
Yep.
I know a little bit more about that one. Hit 'em Up. Like, you guys were playing that in the most recent episode.
Yeah.
That's that one was just...
That's all time. That's just real
violent.
Shit.
Like, that's just full-blown violent.
Dude, and, that's got to be the greatest hip hop beef of all time.
Then
man.
Again, people died.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. That was real. That's as real as it gets.
So it's like, this might be the better alternative. Like, just dropping a little bit of dirt.
And that's what I said too. I was like, dude, in 2024, like, we can't compare hip hop beef today to how it was back then. Like, dude, that's some real fucking shit. These guys are like multi-millionaires, like at the home, probably recording in a jacuzzi.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Different.
It's a little bit
Tupac
different.
Coming fresh off of getting shot 5 times,
Dude.
50 Cent getting shot. Like,
Yeah,
it's a little different.
Way different, right? So I think just in the year of 2024, if this is the closest thing to a rap beef that we're gonna get, I'm good with it. It's it's tough. Everyone wants to compare. If we're talking about diss tracks, like, oh, we got to go look at the greatest diss tracks of all time. Totally get it. But like in the year 2024, there's some hot diss tracks out here, and I'm all for it.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on, like, I guess the state of music today? Like you were kind of saying in the year 2024, like, so obviously you feel like things are different because they are, especially with rap. But I'm wondering, do you think we're in like a kind of like an empty period of rap? I guess I want to preface it just by saying like what my thoughts are.
Sure.
I think that the internet and sustained relevancy has kind of like, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess sabotage the new guys from ever coming up. Like, I think typically guys like Drake, even people like Taylor Swift, at this point, maybe not drop, but like hand it over and become like, what Lil Wayne was to Drake like 10 years ago. Or like, they kind of take a step back and let the other guys go. It's like the internet won't let them go away. It's like Drake will be number one until he's dead. Like that's
probably
how it feels.
Right.
Whereas like, Wayne and Jay-Z and Eminem, they all at some point, like, you could feel it. They were just like, here you go. Whereas like, I'm like, why didn't Lil Uzi take it? Why didn't 21 take it? Why do they still feel like the little guys?
So yeah, let me ask, do you think it's more so an issue of the artist not taking a step away, or do you feel like it just could be the quality of music, and like where's the artistry that's up and coming? You know what I mean? Like who's if you could tell me now, like who is, I'd say, other than Travis Scott, who I would argue is up there, but again, heavily depends on, Kanye and Drake inspiration, right? Other than Travis Scott, who's like the next, like, modern day goat of hip hop?
I thought it was going to be Uzi. I'm not even a huge Uzi guy. I'm really not. Like, I know I'm going to sound like I am from saying that.
Yeah.
I just thought in terms of uniqueness, and it was new. Like, it was, people
Sure.
were going to, like, I thought it was going to be the next thing, like, it's going to become an old head because of this music, because I wasn't going to like it as much as Drake and them. But then it just never, it got so close. It got so close. And I feel like maybe because, like, Juice WRLD passing and just a bunch of other tough events, like, it kind of went the emo route, and then X dies and Pete dies, and it's just like, fuck that. Like, everyone was just like, fuck that shit. We're not doing that. And then Uzi stopped releasing cool shit. He started releasing weird. He went a little too far in that direction, too.
Yeah.
And became alt, and I think everyone's like, all right, what's Drake got?
Yeah. I think so. To answer your question, right? So, and I think this all has to do with social media and the accessibility of music. Like, it's good, it's great for the artists, but like if we're talking about like true artistry and like music, the sound of music, the progression of music, it's honestly terrible.
Yeah.
And I'll say this because if you're an up and coming artist, you have like this sound that like, I think this is going to catch. What's to stop you from taking that sound, doing it like 30 different ways, and just fucking uploading it or like chucking it to the wall and seeing what's going to stick?
Right.
And that's the state of music today, right? Like it's not about like artistry. It's like, how can I like whip up a hit? Like, I'm going to replicate this sound 100 different times and see if it can be a hit. Dude, look at like, there were artists too that I thought would take the next step and become that guy, like guys like Lil Baby, guys like Da Baby,
Gunna?
Could argue,
To a
right?
different extent.
To a different extent. There's guys like that, and it's like to see Roddy Ricch, like
Right.
You know what I mean?
Definitely.
There's guys like that all took like a giant step back. Why? It's because they're trying to do the same exact thing, and it's like, dude, like,
point.
You know what I mean? So that's where I feel music is today. I will say the state of hip hop this year specifically is better than it was last year, but also what I like to see too hip hop is definitely like female dominant today.
Yeah, it is.
Big time.
It is. Do you like that shift?
Bro, it's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting. I think it's cool as a DJ, right? Like my biggest it's interesting because my biggest records, like my biggest modern records of the night are like
Rich Baby Daddy.
Sexy Red, like shit like that are like that's getting the club like turned. And I'm like, I've never seen that before in my years of DJing, that like female records are your prime time records. Like those are getting like the biggest reactions from the crowd, guys and girls.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Because the guys will get lit to it. Maybe because it's still kind of like a minimal presence, so
Right.
there's no threat yet. At least like maybe that's, I think, because that men will play into that at some point. Like knowing the amount of guys I know, being a guy myself, like I feel like at some point if I heard enough like where I thought that like guys wouldn't be running music anymore in terms of like what we hear at the club and everything, I'd be like, nah, fuck that. I'm not gonna get dancing anymore, bro. Like, nah, fuck that. Like,
right,
it's fucking weird. Like,
right.
But yeah, you're right. Women are kind of dominating in a way for sure.
Yeah,
like,
huge.
Do you know why? Is it just because it's different?
Dude, like, I mean, just looking at like the artists that were pumping out like a lot of music again, like those guys I just mentioned, right? They tried replicating the same fucking shit over and over again, and people got tired of it. And guys like you were mentioning, like Drake, Kanye, Travis, they took like last year, like no one really dropped. So there was like this weird in between void of music, and I feel like artists like Ice Spice and Sexy Red and Nicki made a comeback towards the tail end of it, right? They just kind of filled that void, and people were like, oh, this is catchy. I think it was just like the right place, right time thing for a lot of these female artists.
Yeah.
Dude, and I'm all for it. Bro, personally, like I'm actually going crazy when I'm dropping some of these records, but it's like, I'm like, dude, you know, it's good. I think it's good for music overall. And it was just like a right place, right time thing.
I think you're the Lil Baby point is huge. I think because when I remember like 2016 comes around, and I'm like, you know, Drake drops Views, which to me is his last great album. I really enjoyed that, and then I think there's been like some like Scorpion to me was a low for him. I was like so out on that. But then
yeah, as a cohesive project, I could see that, but
I still
undeniably has hits on it.
Tons of it.
Yeah,
There's
yeah,
huge hits on it and everything. But like I think as a project, I'm like I was starting to fall off in his like full. I was like, is he becoming a single guy? He's had a recent little revival, in my opinion. But like it's Lil Baby and like Gunna. Like I thought Baby was gonna be like the next like Future, and like Gunna was gonna be the next Young Thug, and then. You know, we were gonna have Roddy Ricch be like a Drake because he has the melodic.
He could sing.
And then you know you see all the dominoes like ready. It's like everyone's ready to take over. Uzi to be the next weirdo. Like there's always a weirdo.
Right.
And then it just like they got comfortable and they all just sat back and like, all right, let's do the same thing again and again and again and again.
Dude, the only one that's like very much surprised me was 21 Savage. His arc. Like look at like again that freshman class, because I think Uzi was in that class. Like Yachty. Look at that XXL Yachty, right?
Holy shit!
Yeah, but like look at that like 21 Savage. His trajectory as like an artist has like significantly surprised me.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, like he's definitely showing a little bit more variety, which is good. Like he can get a little melodic, but like he kind of sticks to the formula. But like his writing and his rapping abilities definitely surprised me, which is amazing. And which is why, like, you know, everyone was giving Drake a hard time in Her Loss, which I thought was a great project.
Yeah, it was fun.
But the variability, like the variability in that album was very much driven by Drake and his ability to, you know, sing, rap different. And 21 threw down crazy verses. Everyone's like, oh, yeah, 21 washed Drake. It's like, yeah, but like take Drake out of those songs, every one of the songs, and then what do you have? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So 20, again, I'm not taking anything away from 21. I love the trajectory of him as an artist, but could continue. I think he can continue to progress and add more variability and more like folds in the game plan as an artist.
It's almost funny. It's like if guys like flop early, they're more likely to be successful. It's like Lil Baby, Gunna, Uzi, they saw too much success too early.
Very quickly.
So they got so comfortable with just like, if I just do this over and over again, like that'll hit.
Yep.
Whereas like a guy like, I got 3 like 21, like it, the first, like Savage Mode was good, but it was like, this is boring. This isn't going to be like, you're not going to be a mainstream guy. And he knew that, so he comes out with some good shit. Like I Am Greater Than I Was one of my favorite projects of that year.
Great project.
And then guys like Tyler, the Creator, a little bit of an older school guy, but talk about progression of a career.
Yeah, you know what? He could be added to that list that we talked about, like Travis, Tyler, the Creator, and he's definitely in his own lane of hip hop. Yeah. You know what I mean?
And
but
he's
like
still like 2011.
Bro,
he's relevant like that Drake time.
Bro,
like,
he dropped Yonkers when I was in high school, so like I know I was outside for sure, but great example, just like artistry. Like I ask like where is the artistry, and guys like I guess like mainstream artistry is like Travis, and then Tyler the Creator you could throw in that for sure.
It just feels so empty. It's just like maybe because
it's sitting there, bro.
Maybe because they're not just dropping like crazy hits, or do you think it's like a decline of rap at this point as a whole?
I think it's just I think more than anything, just like how it's more of like a music industry issue.
Okay.
I think it's bigger than hip hop. I think hip hop's the easiest one to like point your finger at it and be like, you know what I mean? But there's not, even across other genres. And I could be wrong, but I just feel this way. I feel like even across other genres, like it's all heading for like the same destination.
That pop mainstream influence.
How many times do I have to listen to the radio and be like, oh, here's a 80s sample and The Weeknd singing over it? Awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Here's Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, right.
With like with like 808s. Like why is there 808s in a country song? And it's like you start to lose like the differentiators of these different genres and the excitement of them. And I think that's like, in a weird way, that's the progression for me, I think, of like, for rap, like if you go back to the very roots of it, it's like the boom bap, like super, like I guess dry, but it was new. It was different. It was like spoken word, like, you're just rhyming words and having a good time, really. And it comes from these like specific neighborhoods and places. And then it slowly just, it opened up to more people and became more accessible. It's like then you get to like Eminem and 50 Cent. It's like now we're like super mainstream, good bars still, very very hard, like that type of aura. I think that was the peak. Is like that early mid 2000s, and then it's slowly now gone a little too far, and it's just like all right, now you're just making pop.
Yeah, you just pinholed yourself at this point. But it reminds me of a conversation. So we were fortunate enough to have Neo on our podcast, and
I gotta listen to that.
Yeah, bro,
love Neo,
bro,
love Neo.
He's as advertised. Neo's the absolute man. Big fan of the show. So shout out Neo and his people. But when we were on the show, we asked him like a really good question that made him like sit and think about it. And we asked him something along the lines of like, hey, like R&B music today, like where is R&B music today, right? R&B is very much like evolved as a genre. We don't hear a lot of like true R&B anymore. It's starting to change a little bit, but a couple years ago when we asked him, right? And he said, I'm like, why is there such a big difference from R&B today and R&B when you were like very, very much active? And he said, the artist today, their oldies was hip hop. So that's why their R&B is very hip hop influenced today, as opposed to him. He was listening to guys like Luther Vandross, Boyz II Men. Luther. You know what I mean? So again, when you have, your influence, you can be influenced by many things. Like, again, like my parents like love 80s music. I love 80s music, right? You can be influenced by like what your parents are listening to. And it's like, when you are an artist, you basically like drag influence from what you are surrounded with and what you're listening to. And that's why like guys like, for example, like Morgan Wallen, I'm sure he has a very heavy hip hop influence growing up, right? And that's why, more and more. So again, hip hop really, like to your point, hip hop really hit its peak in like the mid like 2000s, early 2010s. And that's why more younger artists, because that's what they grew up listening to. That's why they're the cross genres. That's why I truly believe across all genres, everything is now more heavily hip hop influenced.
For sure. That makes a ton of sense, actually. And then it maybe is like the passage of like hip hop being the mainstream art to the main influence. Like,
Yeah.
where like, you know, for hip hop at least specifically, like soul was a big influence.
Of course.
Like, obviously with Kanye chopping those samples up, holy smokes.
The man.
That's the best. And I think it's an interesting thing to look at, like the just the change from, I guess, being it to being what inspired the next generation.
Yeah, I mean, hip hop's top 40 now, right? Like,
yeah.
What was it? 20 years ago, you barely get any hip hop on the radio.
Yeah, now it's the entire...
Like 30 years ago. Jesus, I'm getting old.
Yeah, seriously. But it's interesting. That's really cool. And I guess just to kind of switch gears here.
Sure.
Kind of getting back to some of the DJ stuff. When it comes to when newer music comes out, how much are you really in tune with the new music? I know you want to... I bet it's a weird balance of being really on top of the ball, but in the end, you're a DJ. You know, you're not finding new music necessarily that no one's heard before. That's the last thing you want to play is something no one's heard before,
right.
I assume.
Right.
So you really can kind of stick to the charts in a lot of ways, but you also want to understand. So what's it like when an album comes out for you? Like, are you listening for your favorite? Are you listening for something you think will bang? Or are you like checking Twitter like, all right, what's everyone like right now? Like, what's the process?
Bro, that's a $1 million question right there. That's a 10 out of 10 question.
Thank you.
Great host.
Thank you.
So, dude, it's hard. You know, when you're a DJ, it's very hard to listen to music the same as prior to when I was a DJ, right? Like, I find myself, and again, like I listen music for enjoyment, but also like it's hard to turn my brain off when I listen to music. I'm always like, oh, I could do XYZ with this song, or you know what I mean? In terms of new music, again, I think there's times in my career where I'm like, I know this song's going to be a hit, and just to have the stones to go out there and play it, and if the song flops, and just being like, I know this is going to be your favorite song in 3 weeks, and just like let it ride out, and then boom, I'm on to something else.
Love it.
You know, but a lot of it is, you know, as a DJ, you are a servant to the people. You know, people want to go hear the music that they want to hear. And again, this is all like the full circle picture here. Like, this is just modern day, you know, instant gratification, accessibility to music. People think that I'm Spotify today. Back in the day, you know, guys like Jazzy Jeff were out there doing gigs with vinyls, and it's like, do you think people are going up requesting songs? Like, bro, no, those guys created the vibe. You went to the club to go listen to music that you wanted to hear the DJ to play, because the DJs were the ones that dictated what was cool, what was not. Mm-hmm. Today, everyone wants to come up and tell me how to do my job.
Fact.
Which is
that
like
makes so much sense.
Insane. And I'm like, like, what other industry does that happen?
There are none.
Exactly. So that'd be like going to a comedy show and fucking yelling at the comedian, be like, tell it why the chicken crossed the road joke.
Yeah. Weird.
You know what I mean? Just like insane behavior, but
funny enough, do you know Bert Kreischer?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You know The Machine then. The story, do you know his, you might know him from podcasts, but have you ever seen his stand up?
I don't think so.
Funny. Okay. So
I've seen clips like with the shirt off.
Yeah. His claim to fame, the reason why he's famous, is this story called The Machine. Mm-hmm. It's one of the greatest comedic stories ever told, in my opinion. Which is funny because it's coming from fucking Bert Kreischer, who's I like, but it's like he's not like Dave Chappelle or Richard Pryor. But it's, in my opinion, one of the greatest comedic stories ever told. Yeah,
Bert Kreischer is like the Seth Rogen of comedy.
Yeah, he is. It's like he's kind of a joke, but he's actually got some shit.
Right.
And it's like, dang, it's like Pineapple Express is a heater. But this story, The Machine, he had recently made a movie about it. Actually, it's like he like kind of reenacted like the events of this story. I'm not going to get into the details of it. Look it up. It's a fabulous story. And they're due requested because everyone, as you were saying, the story of today is what's on TikTok, what's on this. Everyone that knows him for stand-up, anyone that wants to go see him do stand-up, not watch the live podcast, not all the other shit, people that want to see his stand-up, they want him to tell that story. So now we're getting to the point where even a comedian, you're going to go up to him and tell him, hey, play that, say this story. We want to hear the machine. And then he takes off the shirt and he tells the machine.
That's crazy,
dude. You got to cater to the people, and they love it.
Yeah, that's nuts. I mean,
so it's true,
dude. At this point, when I got people, holding up their phones in front of my face, I'm just like, dude, like it's always like the the notes.
Yeah.
Snapchat message.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
What do they request? What do people want to hear right now?
It's fucking terrible. It's terrible. It doesn't matter. I'm like,
it's
never good. Or if it's something like, play Sexy Red. Yeah, no shit, dude. Like, I'm absolutely going to play that. Like,
come on.
It's 10 o'clock. The doors just opened. I haven't even taken a sip out of my drink yet. And you're asking me to play Sexy Red?
Like, wake up,
like,
dude.
Grow up. No one's there yet.
Grow up, dude.
Read the room. Go in your fucking car and listen to it if you want to so bad. People are out of control, man. You know, it's... And again, that just shows how many years I've been in the game, because I'm like, bro, I'm getting tired.
Yeah,
I'm getting tired of this behavior.
Shit, bro.
Yeah.
The requests. My friend does some DJing here and there, and I gotta introduce you to him somehow, one way or another. He's he doesn't do it all the way, really. I wish he would. Incredibly talented music wise. He was a drummer. Like he just knows music.
Bro, sorry to cut you off,
Please
but
do.
I do feel like drummers are very, very significantly like musically inclined.
100%. More so than any other instrument, in my opinion.
Bro, it's all like, it's the beat, right? It's like the soul of the song. Mm-hmm. And I feel like DJing itself is like a percussion instrument, especially like scratching.
Yep.
And that's why like I find like I know a lot of drummers, especially the wedding company I work for, Meritage.
Yep.
The owner James was like a very, very successful drummer and pivoted to DJing, and he's an unbelievable DJ.
That's what this kid's like, and I'd love to somehow get you introduced. Maybe
we'll link up.
IG,
we'll link up.
Great kid, super funny, super random, and he's a random guy. But he made, what was my point? What was I saying? What were you talking about? Where were we? We lost it, didn't we?
Yeah, we did lose it.
Damn. I'm not even close.
My bad. That's on me. I take full responsibility.
I'd rather you have said whatever you said than because obviously whatever I said didn't mean that much.
No, it's the song requests and stuff like that.
Oh, right. So I'm at Amherst. He was DJing in his basement at UMass Amherst.
Yep.
And he liked to bring me behind. I got a decent ear for it. I've been aux my whole life. It transfers decently well, especially when you got a talented DJ who can just like cut up basically the fucking anything. So we're in like a little like Pop Smoke phase of the night, and I was like, yo, just go from like Pop Smoke to Pop Smoke to Pop. Just let them vibe, like they're loving it. And then
rip it.
And he was like, all right. So we were running through Pop Smoke, and people were just like, the whole room was jammed, having a great time. We were crying, laughing behind, just laughing at these people dancing. And he had a sheet that he had people fill out, and it got like about 25, 30 songs long of people requesting music. He'd turn it, he'd look at it, he'd go, get you. Put it back. He didn't touch one of those songs. I was like, oh, this is, so when I request a song, I'm just being completely different. I am being so ignorant to the fact that this is what he's here to do.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a eyes wide open moment. Don't even bother requesting. If the DJ's got any idea what he's doing, he's just going to completely neglect what you got.
It's probably like 1 out of every like 30 to 40 requests is good.
And it's just because it's next for you. It's like, oh yeah, I was actually going to play that.
Yeah, and then I'm always like, for the people that request something that I literally have like I talked about earlier, like you have song A, B, C, D. It's usually like B or C I'm like, yep, good ear, I'm on that. Like,
yeah.
And then you're their favorite person. The rest of the night.
And also, do you feel a little bit of a connection with that person in the crowd if you're playing that and then they're like, yo.
Yeah, so you give them a point.
And then they're like,
my
yo,
man.
like,
yep.
and like that's kind of a good. Do you have like key indicators in the crowd, like, all right, night's going well, he's lit, like this crowd's lit? Do you just take it like as a holistic thing? It's like, oh, they're all.
I think
maybe.
Boston. I say this all the time. Boston. If you can DJ in Boston, you can DJ anywhere. Boston is like the most per capita. It's got to be one of the most diverse cities in all of America. And it's New York's probably up there, but like Boston, bro, it's not even
it's like
freaking
extensively diverse. It's
Right.
not like, oh, we have a good population of like black, Mexican, white, Asian. It's like, yeah, you got Cape Verdean,
Yep.
you got Dominican,
Yep.
you got like Puerto Rican,
Yep.
you got Brazilian. It's
Yep.
everything.
Yep.
So I get that.
Bro,
It's like the diversity
big
within
time.
the diversity.
Big time. And at least like New York's a big enough city too where there are so many different venues that like, hey, if I want to go listen to Latin music, I'll go to XYZ night at this club.
Totally.
You know what I mean? You could have like, it's funny because like there's even theme nights in the city, but it always ends up being ultimately open format just from how diverse the crowd is.
Right.
Like I do hip hop nights Fridays at Icon, and I look out and I'm like, okay, like big Latin, like there's a table definitely wants Latin music, so like I gotta go like spin off, and it's all about how you do it too, right? Like you have to be creative, you have to keep the flow of the night going, and you just gotta read the room and be like, dude, I gotta make a pivot here, I gotta hit like 5-10 like big Latin records, and then back into hip hop I go. So to answer your question, right, you definitely have pockets of people, especially in like a true open format night, because I do Fridays at Bodega Canal 2, shout out the Social Room. Me and the boys hold that down every Friday. Sick vibes, house party vibes, music all across all genres.
That's fire.
Mad fun. So it's like I'll look out into the crowd, and the crowd is very, very diverse. I'm like, okay, like these people want pop music. These people want hip hop. These people want reggaeton. Like these people want dancehall Afro beats. And it's like to paint that picture with so many different pieces. And I'm looking from like pockets of people standpoint, but I'm also looking at like big picture standpoint.
Yep.
How can I play this person's favorite genre, but keep that group of people moving? Mm-hmm. And that's how like a true DJ works. Again, like there's ways to like set things up and keep the flow like the same. And, you know, I feel like that's, you know, as a DJ, that's what separates me from a lot of other people. That's a tough task to ask.
Yeah.
That's
You're the
why
ultimate people pleaser as a DJ.
you gotta be.
Yeah.
You gotta be. Otherwise, no one wants to go see you spend money, and you know, if bar's not making money, then they're not gonna ask you to come back. So
right. So you gotta get it lit. You gotta turn it up.
Yes,
I love
sir.
that. I guess since we're getting towards like the top of the hour, I do want to give you some time here. What do you got coming up? What is going on? I guess like what do you do consistently, and then we'll stop there. I got another question for you after. But what are you doing like consistently? What do you got going on right now that you're really excited about?
For sure. So again, you know, you can catch me. My schedule. I'm at Cammy V on Instagram, 3Ms_V. But dude, I do like a lot of diverse events, man. I do like hip hop nights. I do, like I said, Social Room. I'm actually doing I'm doing a Brazilian night, which is going to be, yeah, exactly.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, that's, bro,
Challenge.
at Candy Bar, Boston, big club. It's going to be sick. And, you know, it's like, it's very few and far between where I do gigs these days that like make me a little nervous or like excite me. And it's like, okay, this is an opportunity to like lock in, like, and put something fucking super creative together. So that's what I'm looking forward to. You know, I obviously like the podcast has been going great. Been having a great time with that. But
Fantastic podcast.
My man, appreciate
I love,
you.
Dude. You three. It sounded like it was one of the funniest. It was a great hour that I got to listen to.
Hell yeah.
It was not only was it knowledgeable, it was pointed, like you had direction. When you talked over each other, it was because it was funny. It was because y'all were like, oh no, I never forget. It wasn't like anyone was saying anything of value over the other person.
Yeah, we got good chemistry, man. Been doing it for a while, and we're all close friends. So those was my brother. Shout out Snacks and Fingers.
Oh, they're incredible, and they got some funny opinions. You guys, I love the insight you guys all bring. You're very studied. You're all learned people. It was a great listen. Not the last time I'll listen.
My man, appreciate you.
It was so much fun to listen to. So definitely, if you've made it this far, you gotta check that out because it's similar, like fun, but it's very music pointed. So if you like this, you're gonna love that because these guys actually know what they're talking about, as opposed to myself.
No, you're good, bro. We had a good music conversation.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. And then I guess my last question is, or second last is, do you have anything in the future, or maybe it's like a goal of yours that either you're really excited about because like it's coming to fruition and it's down the line, or maybe just it's not necessarily real yet, but something that you really want to do within the next 2-3 years?
Sure. So, off air, we were talking about, I do have like my hands in a lot of different things and stuff of that nature, but, a couple of different things. So, as of recently, I've been doing some touring throughout the country and stuff. I tour with Slacker University and It's a 2000s Party. Basically going to big D1 college markets, performing sold out shows and stuff.
Incredible.
Dude, it's frigging insane. Dude, those college kids, they start jumping the moment you start playing music until the moment the lights come on.
Nothing's changed for the college scene.
Bro, it's crazy.
A lot of things come and go in this world, but you can guarantee 99% of the time college kids are going to have a good time.
Yeah, and they're not like bougie or like jaded yet. Like they're there to have a good time, listen to music. So been enjoying that. So, continuing to travel a little bit more is definitely a goal.
Yeah.
I'm actually, so I do a lot of work with Sammy Adams. I don't know if you're familiar with him.
Yes.
Boston artist, All Night Longer. I'm sure most of the listeners know. So I do shows with him. I tour the country with him whenever he's got a booking. So looking forward to doing that, and I'll save the best for last year. So this last year, one of my good buddies and DJ mentors, Dan Campbell, him and I started our own company, and it's called Curated, and it's basically like it's our own party in the city, but it also features as a docu-series. It's very, very cool. So you look at other markets, right? Miami, New York, LA, even Hawaii, they have these like super DJ oriented, DJ catered parties, and it's bringing it back to the old days where the DJ goes and you go to watch the DJ play whatever he wants to play, and it truly is like a curated performance. So we actually, our next event is May 18th at the Grand. So we got the Grand.
The Grand,
yeah, bro, it's gonna be crazy. So
we're May 18th at the Grand.
Yes, sir. 6 to 9, baby.
May 18th at the Grand from 6 to 9.
Bro, gonna be sick.
Keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. Really looking forward to it, man. We got a shout out to them.
Saturday night?
Yeah, Saturday night.
Saturday night, May 16th, 18th?
18th.
May 18th at the Grand from 6 to 9 on a Saturday night.
It's going to be sick, bro. We got shout out Medford local Jim's Market. B-Boys in the morning. They sponsored our event.
Let's go, Jim's.
And we flew in DJ Popo from Atlanta. If you don't know who he is, check him out. The dude's fucking sick. And
incredible.
Definitely get a ticket. Come support.
That sounds like, you just fired me up.
Bro.
I love that. So that sounds like you got a ton on your plate.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how you carved this in. This was, but I do really, again, I've said it like 3 times, 4 times. I hate to be like too much in your face about it, but I really appreciate you being here.
Bro,
I really appreciate your time. How was your experience on the DOD-cast?
Bro, the DOD-cast, shout out the DOD-cast. If you're not tapped into the DOD-cast, you're missing out. Bro, Dan knows what he's doing here. Vibes are always high. Bro, he has the best guests possible in the greater Boston area. Tap in, DOD_cast. Hook the boy up, will you?
Dude, I might have to make that my promotional material across the board. That was exactly what I needed out of you.
I got you,
so
bro.
Much for that.
Of course.
I'm again thankful that you were here. We're gonna wrap it up here. Again, if you need anything DJ Cammy V related, your handle is
at Cammy_V 3 M's Y_V.
The Italian Stallion.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you very much for coming on
thanks
today.
for having me, man. It was a blast.
I more than appreciate it. Thank you.
Dude,
Thank you very much for watching. If you've made it this far, again, check out his podcast. I'll put it in the description. I'll put it on YouTube. I'll put it fucking everywhere because it was fabulous. Thank you very much, and have a nice day, everyone.
Peace.